who make statements that is contrary to our belief of freedom. The thing is, if someone tells you that the southern zoners are not for this revolution, tell them to go and ask Maema. If someone says Bakweri people are not for this revolution, ask them to go and talk to Mulan Monon. Ask them to go and talk to Mullah Jimmy. Ask them to go and talk to Mullah Nick. And ask them to go and talk to the many other Bakwerians and southern zoners who are bleeding on the ground fighting for this revolution. I know this for a fact. So what I'm going to say is, all of us who are here, who speak that language, it is our responsibility from now on to make sure we come out with audios every single week in Bakweri to educate the people of Boya, Victoria, and everyone around that environment who speaks that language, to make them understand that when our independence was stolen, it was stolen from us by the French and La République du Cameroon with the complicity of the United Nations. We were never part of Cameroon, and there are no two Ambazonians. There is nothing like Southwest or Northwest. We are a country. So let's endeavor to educate our people and counter the message that Monja and some other people in our federal capital territory are telling our people. So I let them be calibrated to support our people as they bleed for their independence. You have your work cut out for you. You have a strong voice, all of you. Make audios. Work with Reverend Leonga. Make audios educating the people of the Southern Zone to make sure that they partner with their brothers who are right now fighting to liberate our country in that zone, and not listen to people like Monja. Because if Monja had any respect for any Ambazonian, especially those from the Southern Zone, he will not kill them the way he does. He will not abuse them the way he does. So the reason why his message sometimes seems to be resonating is because the good voices have been silent. You are the better voices. Make those audios, educate the people, let them know what we stand for. Let them know what we are fighting for. We are fighting for one Ambazonia. And no matter what La République du Cameroon does, no matter what Monja does, no matter what Mullah Moki or whoever down there does, Ambazonia will be free. Because no individual in this country of ours would ever say it just concedes an inch of our territory to La République. We're going to defend ourselves every single day. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Paddy, please usher in the president. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Mr. President to his county, and so he can come in and address us. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Let me acknowledge my Vice President here present, Mr. Eric Ate, the Right Honorable Speaker of the Ambazonia Interim House of Representatives, Dr. Winnie Lobati, the following close collaborators of mine in central administration from FAKO, Dr. Louis Mbua, Secretary of State for Economy, Investment and Natural Resources, Mulafike Monono, Deputy Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, Iya Eli Jabelele, Chairperson of the Intergovernmental Oversight Committee and Director of Planning and Internal Controls of this government, Iya Emma Endele, the General Manager of ABC Amba TV, Mola Jimmy Jakai, County Coordinator and Chairperson of Boya Local Government Area, Molanik Victoria Local Government Area Chair and Acting Chair, Tiko Local Government Area, Patom Oyuka Local Government Chair, then the Interim House of Representatives, Iya Esther, representative for Boya, Honorable Walter Chair, representative for Victoria, Honorable Obasanjo, representative for Moyuka, all traditional and religious authorities here present. Dear people of the great county of FAKO, the Federal Capital Territory, fellow Ambazonians, today we are gathered to draft in the backdrop of a total reinvigoration of our resistance in this pivotal county of our liberation struggle. Welcome to the year of acceleration. When I spoke those words into the atmosphere at the beginning of this year, I called into existence what was going to happen prophetically in our struggle. It is not easy, even for the rainmakers, to call the rain in the heart of the dry season. But that's exactly what I did. Today, from the diplomatic front to the war front, we are seeing acceleration. Our prophetic arrival in Boya, the capital of our great nation, Amazonia, will mark the end of this liberation marathon, and that is very much within sight today. Gathering in Boya is like a ritual that will forever symbolize the trophy of our collective resistance and fight for our freedom. Tonight is a solemn night because we are here to support the territory that hosts our cherished citadel of freedom. We should take this revolutionary pilgrimage to our capital city, capital territory made up of FAKO, Boya, Victoria, Tiko, Moyuka, Idino, and environs on this draft day to reflect and recollect our raison d'etre for committing to this lifetime assignment of liberating our homeland. In the past couple of weeks, our Ambazonia Restoration Forces ARFs have reinvented themselves and inflicted serious casualties on La République du Cameroon enemy forces. We are almost back to where we were in 2021 before we were brutally interrupted by spoilers. Our ARFs have a commanding presence, pushing back the genocidal scouts from La République to their heavily fortified barracks and stations, and sometimes to the bushes. They hold positions for hours unchallenged by La République du Cameroon scouts. Our acceleration agenda is on track, and I can assure you that FAKO will never be the same again. We have been working in the background to prop up new, sophisticated, and diverse actors. The criminal vigilante leader, Moja Moja, is just a sore distraction now. They have no balls. They will soon answer present on the platform of justice in a way and time they least expected. Our guerrillas do not have La République, they do not have La République soldiers to battle with in our national territory, but also these La République du Cameroon trained and sponsored phony militias they use to commit atrocities are also our enemies. Moja Moja is one of their kingpins. This is an old page in their playbook. They usually turn to during this back to school season that precedes the United Nations General Assembly every September to October each year, or anytime they want to amplify their propaganda. Unfortunately for them, after 7 years of doing the same thing over and over, they can only fool the man on their mirror. Let us honor our ARFs in FAKO County who are falling in battle as they carried out their most patriotic duty in defense of family and country. Let us not forget the thousands of innocent civilians, Ambazonians, whose lives have been cut short because of the Bulu Beti-led genocide on our people. We think of those murdered just last week by these devilish La République du Cameroon barbaric thugs as they perpetuate their genocide on our people. A moment of silence, please. May their ever-present spirits continue to spur us never to give up on this liberation journey to Boya. Dear compatriots, we set up in this journey to fight and take back our nation. All of us who are still in this struggle were called to destiny or by destiny to do what we are doing, and we are answerable to a good conscience. Many began with us, but along the way, they changed the goalpost. They lost their motivation, diluted their zeal for justice, or were subdued by fear, pain, suffering, and desolation. Some are now preaching the half-breed theory to us, calling some of us hardliners, while others still think this fight for justice should not be everybody's fight. Examples include those who continue to serve the enemy government that is massacring our people. These are greedy captives who want us to arrive at a one Cameroon settlement at all cost. They don't want to lose anything. They have dug their heads in the sand, sold their consciences, and are helping the annexationists to manipulate and hunt down our true warriors. They pretend to be Southern Cameroonians, that they are also Southern Cameroonians, but they are ready to trade our freedom and blood for a place at the enemy's table. These make themselves our prime enemies today because the snake in the house is worse than 10 in the compound. We will not embrace them in any shape or form because for them to live, we must all die. They are now hired mercenaries, or considered so to be, in the front lines to torpedo our struggle. Shame on them. In a couple of days, high-level general debates will commence at the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Because of the changing ground game characterized by battleground resistance from our ARFs across Amazonia, the enemy, La République du Cameroon, will find it hard to justify their claim that normalcy has returned in our territory. They will be stuck with presenting atrocities or pictures they perpetrated on innocent Amazonians as being perpetrated by our forces. That's the trajectory they take when they find it difficult to withstand our forces in the battlefield. When pressed to justify why they focus on the military option and refuse to dialogue with us, as recommended by the United States Congress, they cowardly massacre our citizens and burn their homes to paint us as some criminals they cannot talk with. They cannot finish or wish away the innocent lives of over 50,000 Amazonians they have slaughtered so far during this senseless genocide, and more than 500 villages, settlements burned down to ashes, thousands of political prisoners who have disappeared or are held in inhumane dungeons without trial. These are meticulously documented in certain human rights reports. The millions of our refugees scattered in foreign lands because of this La République du Cameroon engineered genocide represents a scar on the character and a slap to the conscience of the international community until they do what they are doing for Ukrainians in Ukraine. As the 2 week long lockdown rounds off today, I call on all of us, all of you Amazonians on the home front, to be more prudent and vigilant than ever. Remember that our policy on school or back to school has not changed. Parents and guardians should gauge and assess the security situation before taking any decision to send their children to school. Our ARFs cannot guarantee the safety of children, especially now when shootouts with enemy forces are unpredictable. Peace will only return when this war ends on the table. Never believe La République du Cameroon and consider a reduction, even a reduction of gunshots in an area as the end of the war. Sometimes it is just because our fighters are in their defensive trenches waiting for the enemy that may have retreated for strategic reasons. And in most of our rural areas, that is the case. When the enemy shows up, there will be exchange of fire, and your children may put themselves in harm's way. Also, La République du Cameroon soldiers are fond of establishing military barracks in campuses, in school campuses, thereby putting every life in these schools in danger. It has also been brought to our notice that the colonial regime has launched a recruitment exercise for local personnel to carry out a census in our villages and local government areas. This is an arrogant trespass in our territory during this time of war. It may also be a pretext to track our population and target our activist fighters and their families. Therefore, such census on our endangered population by La République du Cameroon colonial genocidal authorities is prohibited in the entire territory of Amazonia. Why should they spend billions of colonial currency to organize a census in Amazonia where 1/3 of the population is displaced? Our people should know that anything a party at war decides to invest in the midst of a raging war is obviously a war strategy. We must not allow it. Anyone who takes part in that exercise will be assumed to be a La République du Cameroon soldier in Mufti and should be arrested and investigated. Dear valiant Amazonia Restoration Forces of FAKO County, you have shown that FAKO will no longer be the breeding ground for La République du Cameroon genocide perpetrators. From Bimbia to Bukwango, from Tiko to Moya, from Ekona to Moyuka, you are taking control of our territory and denying the enemy the opportunity to claim our national territory. The observance of this lockdown has sent a resounding message to the colonial genocidal enemy that FAKO County is indeed the heart of Amazonia, and their stay here is only a matter of time. I salute your courage, and I encourage you to continue giving sleepless nights to enemy soldiers and those shameless enablers as you focus on your patriotic duty of defending our vulnerable people and homeland. We are gathering tonight to support you financially so that you can be able to sustain this renewed level of resistance. But remain vigilant and alert. The enemy is in your midst. Contrary to international law or humanitarian law, your former colleagues in DDR are now working with the enemy soldiers to sabotage your every effort and target your innocent family members. Some have joined the recently announced La République du Cameroon criminal vigilante forces. Trust not everyone who comes in the name of an amber fighter, that even if you know them or not. Some of them, as you probably know, are La République du Cameroon soldiers dressed up like ARFs, continue to protect and help the population because the population is your cover and our vast intelligence network. It is time to re-escalate the firepower in our Federal Capital Territory according to our National Strategic and Security Plan. My dear people of Boya, Moyuka, Tiko, Victoria, and Idina, especially those in the home front. Being one of you and leading the prosecution of this liberation quest is a big challenge. A challenge because much is expected of me and of you by our people. How do we contribute to the synergy of our collective resistance is what I want you and all to reflect on. Remember that much of the exploitation of our resources by the colonial occupier is happening right here in FAKO County. The land grabbing by the Bulu-Beti colonial officials is way out of proportion. We cannot remain onlookers of this exploitation and subjugation, then hope against hope that La République du Cameroon perpetrators will repent one day and restore all what they have stolen from us. We are the only ones who will fix this anomaly in a free southern Cameroon's Amazonia. We cannot go to a gunfight with a knife. Our rights will not be restored by surrendering to the occupier. There is time to be an onlooker and there is a time to take on a challenge. This is the time to fight for our inheritance and that of our generations to come. I encourage you to embrace this renewed vigor of our resistance right here in the Federal Capital Territory and treat the enemy for who he is, not for who you wish he was. In a free Amazonia, the rights of the FAKO and any other people shall not only be respected, but shall be guaranteed and protected by the Constitution. And our Constitution will never be a toilet tissue that politicians like Biya use at their personal convenience. Go and ask certain IG dissidents who did not understand this principle. They tried to add and subtract from our interim constitution without following the constitutional amendment process. They wanted to mutilate the constitution to serve their selfish agenda, remove who they wanted to remove, and take power by all means. These ones can confirm to you that Amazonia is not La République. Needless to say, they failed woefully. Fellow financial warriors and supporters of the Federal Capital Territory, once more, your presence tonight is testament of your continuous commitment to our liberation cause. All of us own our Federal Capital Territory, and we must fight to protect it or reclaim it. I call on you all to go the extra mile in supporting our brave FAKO ARFs who are now fired up. Your contribution will give us a leverage to continue to steer them in the right direction and increase our influence over them. We have a vast strategy in FAKO that is working. Without money, we cannot finish the work we have started. Your contribution tonight will go a long way to providing the tools we need to spread our presence in FAKO, defend our vulnerable people, and take back our Federal Capital Territory. Our liberation journey to free our homeland ends or shall end in our Capital Territory, Boya. Let us invest in the defense of this Federal Capital Territory with renewed nationalistic enthusiasm and patriotism, knowing that our sacrifices shall not be in vain. We may only be condemned if we do nothing, that every sacrifice we make shall be appreciated by generations to come. That is the best birthday gift we must bequeath to our next generation. Thank you once more for your continuous sacrifice, and let the enemy hear us today loud and clear as we support our Federal Capital Territory in this special draft event. Let the 2023 draft for FAKO County kick off right now. Viva the great people of FAKO. Viva our brave Ambazonia Restoration Forces. And viva the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Very well, Mr. President. Very well,
Thank you for the very special message, Mr. President.
Very well, very well, very well.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Number one, beautiful message.
Very.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, we
Let's
appreciate
give him a good clap.
you. Thank you, Mr. President.
You know what?
We appreciate
Mr. President, Manda Muyaka. Mr. President, with all the distinguished accolades, we thank you. It's the appropriate time to bring in our distinguished Nijo. He need not be introduced. He is a man of the Southern Cameroon Amazonian people. He's a man we are so much indebted to. Distinguished brother Nijo, please. It's over to you.